Hey guys, it's Victoria Rose. I know yesterday I said that I was going to make two videos yesterday for kind of making it up, but I got caught up and then my iPad died and then I had to go to class and then my friends and I went out last night. Um, so that video did not get to go up yesterday. But here I am today to make it. Um, I'm going to be making Reddit videos or Reddit story videos just until I get a couple more subscribers so that I can start going out to parts in Las Vegas that are extremely haunted. Um, I was gonna make a video about me going to Nelson the other day, but my friends didn't want to get out of the car. So that's gonna be a time for when either they feel like they want to get out of the car or I'm just gonna be by myself. But I don't want to be by myself in some random town that I don't know. But today's video was called, or today's story is called I Think I Might Be a Sensitive. I Saw Some Messed Up Stuff as a Kid. And it's from the Reddit user clever_name, or username underscore. And it says, it starts out saying that he wrote this Reddit post his freshman year of college, but it's been a few years, and then he remade the Reddit and he posted on this one so that he can read the comments and just follow up and interact with people better. And then he starts with this story. I have recently become aware that I might be a sensitive, and ghosts have been following me since I was a child. I was raised in a heavily religious household, so much so that the belief of paranormal or anything remotely pagan was very much frowned upon. However, I have always known that there had to be something else out there. Up until the age of 6 or 7, my parents had kept a baby monitor in my room simply because they were overbearing and overprotective. My dad recently told me that every night he would wake up to the sound of my voice over the baby monitor at 3 a.m. having full-on conversations with no one. It got so bad that one time he even ran into my room thinking there must have been an intruder, but found my room empty and me fast asleep. After that incident, he figured I was just waking up to go to the bathroom and talking to an imaginary friend, or talking in my sleep. My own memories get a bit weirder than that, unfortunately. I remember specifically lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, watching shapes and figures form into the darkness before my eyes. This still happens to this day. I see blue wisps of mists in every room, no matter how dark, before bed. The wisps move and form into orbs, and sometimes crude faces with unrecognizable features to them. I remember crying at night as a child because of them, not from fear, but from heartache, because they look sad. I would like to point out here that until the age of 11, I had never had any frightening experiences. I believe that the talking my dad heard when I was young was likely me talking to the blue wisps and asking why they were so sad. I remember some of them would look happier after talking to me that night, and I would not see them again. Yet the ones who still looked sad would return the next day and the next until they too became happy. That kind of reminds me, or that makes me think that he was talking to ghosts that had passed and they were stuck in purgatory, or they were just stuck there and they wanted somebody to help them go into the light so that they could be with their loved ones. And the ones who were still sad, I feel like they had more unfinished business here in this world before they can go into the next. I also had dreams of people that I have never seen before. Yes, I know your brain can't create faces of people you've never met, but I mean, before I even saw a picture of my grandfather who died in my mother's 20s, she was 39 when she had me, I had seen his face. The very first time I saw his picture, my mother said I had happily exclaimed, "That's Duck, he plays with me in my dreams." My mother's maiden name is Duckworth. All of the grandchildren called her father Papa Duck. My mother, a very religious woman, assumed that this was Papa Duck checking on his last little duckling that he didn't get to meet before he passed. The event that stands out most in my memories when I was thinking about the things that happened when I was young was this entity that helped me save my grandmother's life. I was awoken up by a voice that called my name and told me my grandmother was sick and needed my help. That I needed to go to my mother because this was an emergency. My mother and I ran into each other in the kitchen that night. Something had woken her up by tapping her on the forehead. She had assumed it was me, but when she opened her eyes, no one was there. My grandmother was staying with us while she was recovering from surgery on her shoulder. When we came into her room, she had chills so violent my mother thought she was having a seizure. Her immune system was weakened by the surgery, and she had caught a severe case of the flu and had developed pneumonia while she was in the hospital. She had to be rushed to the emergency room, where there was information that if we were an hour later, she may have not have been with us. As a kid, I used to hear voices as well, odd whispers from people who I didn't recognize. I would hear my name being called when no one was around. I would hear people advising me what I should and shouldn't do, guiding me, like that little voice in your head that people call their instinct or their gut, except mine wasn't just my inner monologue. My parents thought I would just have imaginary friends or I was making up wild stories anytime I told them about it. That kind of sounds like a spirit guide. Like a spirit guide is somebody, or not somebody, an energy that guides you like down your spiritual path. And that's kind of what it sounds like because you said guiding, so it might just be a spirit guide. Around the time I turned 11, things turned sinister. This is likely because I witnessed my best friend's suicide over Skype chat that same year, and I was diagnosed with clinical depression. Blue wisps came less often in that time of my life and were replaced with looming figures darker than black. Yes, you read that right. These things were so dark that they weren't just black, they were something worse. The only way I can describe it is that dark, sinking feeling that you get if you've ever had a near-death experience. When you know there's no hope for you, that you're a goner, and that you're about to die right then and there. These figures were accompanied by the onset of my very first experience with sleep paralysis, but certainly not my last. My first experience of sleep paralysis is decently cliche: dark looming figure at the end of my bed, inability to move, heavy feeling in my chest. You've heard all the stories. But something else happened that I really don't hear in many sleep paralysis stories that I've come across. I heard these awful sounds that didn't sound like any animal I've ever heard. They were warped and guttural. They instilled a fear so deep into my bones that I'm having difficulty even writing about them now. I would compare it to the sound that many people hear from skinwalkers, the sound of an unknown creature being brutally torn apart, screaming for its life. The sound of murder. The figure would stare at me while those screams continued, and every time I blinked or closed my eyes, it would get a little closer until all I would see was that darkness I mentioned earlier. Complete darkness, darker than black, no hope, the feeling of being a goner. Then it would just stop. Everything would return normal, and I'd be left lying in my bed hyperventilating and sobbing. That sounds terrifying. I've had a couple of experiences like that, just not with the guttural screaming that he had mentioned. But I kind of want to do a story time on my sleep paralysis experiences, but I just kind of want to wait until I get more subscribers to my channel so that they can know my story. But let me know down below if you guys want to hear it. Incidences like this happened just about every night from the time I was 11 to the time I was a junior in high school. Junior year, these sleep paralysis episodes started to die down, probably because I was put in high doses of depression medication and getting my depression under control. Spirits and entities tend to take advantage of you in your most vulnerable states, like when you're sick or suicidal. These are the times when your positive vibrations are at their lowest points and your consciousness is not well protected. I still have these episodes every once in a while, right before something bad happens. I experienced one in October, the day before I got the news that a dear friend from high school had taken her own life, and I had an episode the day before my grandmother, from the story I had told earlier in this post, had passed away. I only experienced them before times of great tragedy in my life. That's interesting. That's an interesting kind of post. Like, I really liked it. It kind of gave me chills, like, throughout it. Like, just because I've had a lot of experiences of sleep paralysis and seeing the dark figure at the end of my bed, hearing crazy noises when I'm having my sleep paralysis. Like, sometimes, like, I feel like I'm moving, but I know I'm not. But by the time I snap out of the sleep paralysis, I still feel that dark energy that it comes with. I do want to do a story time about it. But if you guys have any interesting stories, let me know down below. I'll put my my YouTube email so that you guys can email me your stories, and maybe I can do a story time on those. Let me know down below. Alright, bye guys. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to my videos.